Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the HamCorp training manual. In this episode, we will craft the next tier of circuits, the nano tier. We will also implement a basic platline up to platinum dust. Byproducts and further processing will happen at a later date. Okay, I want to make better circuits before doing the platline, and to make better circuits, I need Epoxide, for which I need some chemical reactors, and I've already expanded the chem plant a little bit so that I can have space for these chem reactors, but I realized I'm going to need a lot more dense cables because all of these are full. So I need to make a new branch from this controller and have it go all the way here. And I just don't have enough quartz. So now sifting the quartz should be pretty quick, but washing the quartz is going to take forever. And so is probably macerating the ores. Well, less so, but still. So I've gathered up some materials for some more multi-block ore processing. I got most of the stuff for the industrial centrifuge, except for the casings. Same with the ore washing plant, except for the wash plant casings again. And the maceration stack. This I could make right now. So the maceration stack can be built. I would like to do the ore washing plant as well. The only reason I haven't prepped this already is because it needs talonite and grissium. One thing I want to say about these is that it's faster to use an extruder to make the plates than to use a bending machine. Not by much, it's not a big difference. Well, it is for the grissium. 11 seconds versus half a second. It is definitely worth making an extruder, and it has to be an EV extruder, which is another thing I noticed. It's an EV extruder or an EV bending machine. And I'm going to need a lot of this grissium. And grissium is a little bit annoying because TPV coils, again. I still don't have enough TPV or enough platinum, really, to upgrade the actual blast furnaces. So I'm going to have to hijack the tungsten steel one again. The talonite also needs molybdenum, also needs TPV, but it needs molybdenum to make the dust. And I don't think we have any molybdenum yet. Oh, okay, we have a few ingots. This is probably from loot chests. I don't know if that's enough. Yeah, no clue. I'll have to check. But if it's not, it's quite easy to get molybdenum. It's available in the nether, so that shouldn't be too hard. The industrial centrifuge, I think I don't really need it yet, so this can wait. But most of it is prepped for the industrial centrifuge. Also for the ore washing plant, you do need to supply it with water. And I've made a reservoir hatch, which basically, as it says in the tooltip, infinitely supplies water. It's only an EV recipe, so it's not too bad to make. But okay, I'm going to get these wash plant casings done. This grissium and this talonite. And then we'll set up the maceration stack and the ore washer. And we can do a little bit of ad hoc automation and just send the Certus quartz ore straight through all three machines in the ore processing. And then I would like to make 2 stacks of dense covered cable. Yeah, needs 1,000 quartz, which I just don't have. And after that, I'll talk about the better circuits. Okay, wait, no, never mind. I've done the math, and it will take 6 hours to blast this with a single EV TPV blast furnace. So this has to wait. This is not an option right now. I'm gonna do the maceration stack, and I guess I'll just wash this in a cauldron or something. Alright, let's see how fast this is. Normally, this would take 5 seconds per ore in an HV macerator. So a little more than 5 minutes per stack. This is doing 6 at a time. 3.1 seconds to do 6 of them. And it uses way less power. So this is quite fast. This only took 30 seconds. I do have to keep emptying out these output buses. I should probably set up some kind of item conduit. But okay, this is quite fast. I think I'm not going to chem bath these or even wash them in a machine. I think I'm just going to chuck them in the cauldron and then sift them, because I don't really want to wait. Alright, I got a bunch more cables. I have another connection going all the way to these 4 new chemical reactors. The 2 on the right are the ones that actually make the epoxide, and the 2 on the left are for acetone and acetic acid. So I have acetic acid being stored in this fluid tank. I'm sure it has other uses besides this. That's why I have a storage bus here instead of sending it directly to the next LCR. And the other LCR makes acetone and carbon dioxide and water, and it dumps the carbon dioxide and the water in the back, and it stores the acetone here. Now for the epoxide pair, this one on the right makes epichlorohydrin from water, chlorine, and propene, as well as sodium hydroxide dust. That's produced here, and it's sent directly into the input hatch over here, which is for the next step. But first, I want to show you something. The quadruple input hatch. I'm trying to save on applied energistics channels as much as I can, so I use these quadruple input hatches because they only use one channel. And you can use a capacity card to increase the number of inputs you can use on a single export bus. So here I'm exporting all three of these using one channel into this quadruple input hatch, and the sodium hydroxide goes in a loop with the salt water that comes out. That's just electrolyzed. You get chlorine, hydrogen, and sodium hydroxide back. The chlorine and hydrogen are sent to these two super tanks. This is a net loss of chlorine, so the super tank is never going to fill up. It doesn't really even need to be a super tank, to be honest. It could just be even a low voltage tank would be probably big enough, but whatever. This hydrogen is going to build up eventually, so I have overflow voiding on. And this electrolyzer electrolyzes the hydrochloric acid that we get from the same step back into hydrogen and chlorine. It makes too much to send directly to the next craft, so I decided to electrolyze it, and then one of these chem reactors will turn it back into hydrochloric acid, which we can then send a smaller amount of to the next chem reactor. And in this next chem reactor, we'd send the hydrochloric acid, the epichlorohydrin, and phenol from benzene, and acetone, which we just made over here. Those are combined again with sodium hydroxide to make molten epoxide and salt water. Again, the salt water we electrolyze back into sodium hydroxide, and in fact, we share an output hatch, so both of these LCRs are outputting the salt water directly into this electrolyzer. This electrolyzer is kind of the bottleneck of this whole setup, but the molten epoxide we send to this fluid solidifier, turn it into ingots, and that's that. I just need to make a little bit less than 2 stacks of sheets to finish the quest, and that happens really fast. We need epoxide sheets for both types of new circuit boards. I'm going to skip this one for now, because this is the next tier up, so this one can wait. But I'm going to work on this one, the advanced circuit board. These are all things we can make. I already have some advanced circuit boards from a quest, so I'm just going to use them to finish this quest. But I did teach the recipe, so now we can craft these on demand. Next up is the Nano CPU. This needs an EV chem reactor, either an LCR, that's EV, or a single block EV that's put in a clean room. It doesn't really matter which one we use. I guess the LCR will be easier to upgrade in the future, and it counts as a clean room itself, so it doesn't need to go in a clean room. That's fine. I think I'm just going to do this one. Now that we have access to better circuits, I'm going to have to reteach all of these circuit recipes. First of all, I'm going to remove these 3 recipes because we now have access to better versions of these. Nanoprocessors are the new HV circuit. Nanoprocessor assemblies are the new EV circuit. They're not the cheapest version of the EV circuit just yet, so I'm not going to craft these in bulk. I'm just going to craft these one at a time. And the Elite Nanocomputer is the new IV circuit. We also have just unlocked the first LUV circuit, the nanoprocessor mainframe. So we can reteach all of those. Now anything that used to use a processor assembly, I have to reteach to use a nanoprocessor. And the same is true for workstations and nanoprocessor assemblies, and mainframes and Elite Nanocomputers. I've started preparing for the Platline by making a bunch of different machines, but there is a little more ore processing I need to do. I need to centrifuge all of this cryolite, so I decided to use that as an excuse to get this industrial centrifuge done. All done. Very cool looking multi-block. Now, impure cryolite, usually, is quite fast. It only takes 2 seconds each in an HV centrifuge. Let's see how fast it is in this. 1.8 seconds per craft, and each craft is 18. So it's almost 18 times faster. It's probably something close to 20 times faster. Alright, time for the Platline. Got all my materials ready. At least just the machines, not the logistics. I think I will put this in the ore processing area, but I think I might put it downstairs. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna dig out this area. Well, I say dig out, but it's kind of hollow already, so yeah, I'm gonna clean this up, expand the building underground, and this is where the Platline is gonna go. All right, I've made some more space. I even expanded it vertically a little bit because I found that this is a little congested. Like the blast furnaces, even they reach the top, so I had to dig out these holes for the muffler hatches. I didn't want to do that again. So I lowered the floor here. Still quite boring looking, I think. So I think for the Platline, I'm gonna try and make it look good. Like I'm gonna decorate the multi-blocks and I'm gonna decorate the single blocks. Hello. I originally wanted to show the whole Platline on the side while going through the whole process, but it's just really hard to read because it's quite large. So if you want to see it, you can find it online, plenty of places, or you can make it yourself, or you can check it out on the HamCorp Discord. Let's start with step 1, Aqua Regia. I am going to do what it says here in the yellow text. I'm just going to hold a stack of platinum at the end to skip to the end. Like, I don't want to take cells out of machines for each of these quests just for the sake of the quest. So, given that I can skip to the end, I am going to do that. I assume that means I complete all of the quests along the way and I get the rewards. But if I don't, then yeah, then I will go back and take out cells. But that's fine. So let's start with Aqua Regia. Now actually both the diluted sulfuric acid and the nitric acid are going to go in a loop. So I just need to provide an initial little bit. And I think I'll do half a stack of diluted sulfuric and half a stack of nitric, just to have a full stack of Aqua Regia in circulation. That's just going to go in a mixer. Now a multi-block mixer would be nice, but it needs an IV mixer. Also some other stuff. I'm just going to stick with a single block mixer, and maybe in the future I'll upgrade it to a multi-block. So I'm going to leave space for it as if it's a multi-block. Something like this. And I'll worry about cabling and power later. So this is going to make Aqua Regia. This Aqua Regia does not need to be stored really. It needs to go into step 2B, not 2A. 2A is something we're going to come back to. But step 2B combines the Aqua Regia with platinum metallic powder dust to get platinum concentrate. This is done in an LCR. I'm going to use this recipe, so it does the full dust at a time and I don't have to deal with tiny dusts. So let me chuck together an LCR really quick. Alright, this LCR is going to make platinum residue dust, which is just a byproduct that we don't do anything with. And it's going to make platinum concentrate. It's going to take in the Aqua Regia, and it's also going to take in platinum metallic powder dust from outside. And I'm going to set the program circuit to 9. So now, essentially, this part is done. We have our platinum concentrate and our platinum residue. So step 2B and step 1 are both done. Now we come back to step 2A, and we make ammonium chloride. This is also going to need an LCR. I'm going to put this one here as well. Now this has 2 possible recipes. I'm considering doing this big one, but that said, I don't really need that much ammonium chloride at once, so it should be fine with the small one. I'm just going to go with this one, and it needs program circuit 1. This is going to take ammonia and hydrochloric acid from, the cloud, and then it's going to make ammonium chloride, and I think nothing else. Yeah, just ammonium chloride. So that's going to come out of this hatch, and then this hatch from before is the platinum concentrate. These two we combine in an LCR, yet again, to get a bunch of different stuff. Now I could do some wall sharing here just to make it a bit easier, but I think I'm going to separate it out so it's clear what's happening, which means another LCR. So platinum concentrate goes here, ammonium chloride goes here, and we're going to make quite a few things. We have 2 solid outputs and 3 liquid outputs. Let me show you the recipe. So it is this one. We're going to get platinum salt dust and reprecipitated platinum dust. We're also going to get palladium enriched ammonia, nitrogen dioxide, and diluted sulfuric acid. So this is one of the loops. The sulfuric acid is going to get sent back to this mixer. So 2 solid outputs and 3 liquid ones. I'm going to assign these. So this one is going to be our byproduct that is awaiting further processing. I'm not going to implement this one just yet. So I'm just going to store this. I'll add a super tank. So this is palladium enriched ammonia. And then these 2 are going to be nitrogen dioxide and diluted sulfuric acid. All right, that's the 3rd LCR. Oh, and don't forget to add the program circuit. Step 4 is the actual platinum. So I think I'm going to do that one last. There's also a bit of recycling to do. And beyond this, there's also some recycling that's not shown in the quests. That being the sulfuric acid and the nitrogen dioxide. So the sulfuric acid, we're just going to send straight back to the mixer, but the nitrogen dioxide needs to go to yet another LCR. I'm going to put that one over here. That's going to be sent into this recipe, 24, where it's combined with oxygen and water to make nitric acid. The oxygen and water, of course, we will source from elsewhere. So that's these two input hatches. And the nitric acid's coming from this side, so I may as well put it on this side. And this is going to make nitric acid in this output hatch, where we will send it straight back to this mixer. However, because it's a single block mixer, one of these needs to go in as a cell. And I guess it could be the nitric acid. So let's chuck it in a low voltage fluid tank and have an item conduit going back and forth. And cool, that is all 4 LCRs. One for nitric acid, one for ammonium chloride, one for platinum concentrate, and one for reprecipitated platinum dust, and a bunch of other things. Don't forget your program circuit, by the way. Okay, cool. That is all of the fluid outputs handled. Now there are 2 solid outputs. One of them is platinum salt dust. I don't know which one's going to go into which because there's no way to set it beforehand. But the platinum salt dust we send to a sifter, where it is sifted into refined platinum salt dust. And this you can blast back into platinum metallic powder dust, which is our original input that goes into this. So this and a blast furnace are going to go somewhere here. That allows a little bit of recycling, a little bit of a loop, and that's why doing this whole process is better than just smelting the powder. But besides that, the other thing we get is reprecipitated platinum dust. The reprecipitated platinum dust is what becomes our platinum in the end. This one we combine in a chemical reactor. I guess a single block one is fine. We combine it with calcium to get platinum dust and calcium chloride dust. And this calcium chloride, we're just going to electrolyze back into calcium. So the calcium is going to go in a loop, and we're going to generate some chlorine, which is really nice. Well, I say it's nice, but we're putting in hydrochloric acid here. So we're actually, I think we're going to be net loss on chlorine. And I will figure out the conduit shenanigans and have it go in a circle. And then finally, we will have our platinum dust. That's the entire Platline up to platinum. The whole platinum metallic group still needs to be done. And that starts with this platinum residue dust that we're just leaving here, and the palladium enriched ammonia, which we're just going to leave here in a super tank. That's a lot more processing to do. But right now, I'm only after platinum itself, so this is the whole thing. I'll also pretty it up. I might move some machines around. Oh, I forgot to build a blast furnace. Okay, there's also a blast furnace here. There you go. Now that is the whole setup. I might move some things around in the name of aesthetics. But yeah, I'll be back once the machines are actually going. Okay, here it is. The full setup. I housed it in some bit and some tinted glass. So it's visible from above. If I ever need to go in, I can just break a couple of these, drop down. Over here, I left a big open space because eventually I'm going to come back to this mixer and upgrade it to multi-block. Maybe. I don't know if I really need to do that, but something to think about. All the conduits, I know I should hide them better, but some of these I can hide with a conduit facade, which, like, why? Like, why do I have to go through all of this? Why can't I just put these on, like the cable facades from Applied Energistics? Like, why? Like, come on. But I'll get around to that eventually. Probably. Or maybe not. I don't know. I also did have to set up an LCR in the chem building for ammonia because we didn't have that before. But now we're making ammonium chloride in here. This one is making platinum concentrate. This one is making the salt dust and the reprecipitated dust, which is being processed over here into platinum dust. So we almost have our first stack, and that'll allow us to skip all of these quests. Yeah, I'm relatively happy with how this looks. This part, I think, could use some work. Not sure what I want to do. I need to hide these cables first, or these pipes. But yeah, cool. Platinum. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will upgrade our blast furnace coils and either set up the crop pot or start on bees. The board is currently undecided on which one is a higher priority at this time. HamCorp would like to remind employees that you are required to stay hydrated. Hydrated employees are productive employees. See you next time.